Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sanghang namasami. Welcome everyone to this Sunday morning program at the Dhammadharini. We'll be doing a bit of meditation this morning and having some Dhamma discussion. I'm very pleased to welcome Aya Brahmavara, who is coming in from a distance to be with us this morning. A few days ago, we were talking in this group about developing awareness of the 5 khandhas of form, the body, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and the knowing factor or consciousness. With a part of that, just training the mind to be capable of picking up and recognizing these subtle phenomena. Today, I would like to invite us to set a kind of preliminary intention. How excellent, how wonderful it is to be able to dwell in the present moment, not lost in the past and the future. And especially during the meditation, recognizing the feeling, the moments of feeling, Vedana, when they arise, when they exist, or when they go away. Or noticing a thought that arises. When it arises, it exists, it goes away. The thought and the feeling are likely to come together. So the feeling is a companion for the thought. When we do meditation, we don't come in with the intention of mulling over our problems or engaging in discursive thinking. Instead, there's a kind of a thought. It's called a vitaka. And it's just when the mind connects with an object. So if we meditate on the breath, as I'll be guiding in a couple of minutes, when awareness connects to the breath, you may recognize that as the arising of the vitaka, the thought of the breath. And how that feels. And if some other random thought comes along, one may, in a very light way, just recognize that, oh, it's a thought. The mind is connected with awareness to that. And then if the feeling is helping us to stay present and aware and connected for this meditation, one can be aware of that feeling and allow that feeling to help us to stay on the meditation. But if the feeling is something not connected with this meditation, something that's carrying us away somewhere else, in the lightest and gentlest way possible, just see it how it is. See the existence and the arisen, the existence and the disappearance of that other feeling. So that's my preliminary suggestion. Could be the setting up intention for this period of meditation. Welcome to bring the body to an upright posture. If one is sitting in a chair, as I am, it's can be useful to have a small cushion to give support to the lower back. And if sitting in the cross-legged posture, the zafu or the cushion you're sitting on helps the body to have a nice, comfortable, balanced posture. Mm-hmm. Letting go of agitation or worry. Coming to the present moment and the here and now. Enjoying the calmness of the here and now. Aware of the material body. And letting the material physical body to settle into stillness. Relaxing the face. Letting the shoulders drop. Letting the hands rest on the lap. Letting the belly be soft. Letting the hip joints be relaxed and the knees be relaxed and the feet be relaxed. Sinking into the seat or the cushion, like resting on the earth. Within the stillness, aware of the breath. In whatever part of the body the breath is most noticeable. Aware of the Vedana, the feeling right now, or what it's like to be sitting and breathing in full awareness. Letting the breath come to the front, filling up the field of awareness. Any other sensation? Breathe into that. Breathing with the touching sensation anywhere in the body. like the whole body is breathing in and breathing out. Letting the breath come to the front. Feeling the whole field of awareness with the in-breath and the out-breath in whatever way the breath is noticeable. And gently emerging from this meditation, wishing for the benefit of this mindfulness for our safety and happiness and for all beings. I would like to invite my dear friend Aya Brahmavara to give Dhamma reflection, possibly 10-15 minutes, and allow some time for questions and conversations.
Thank you so much, Aya Sobana. And huge gratitude for all your Dhamma teachings and guidance. And it's lovely to see everybody. I'm in the UK, different time zone and all, but nevertheless, we can come together like this. And it's so strengthening, so supportive for practice. So what to say? I'd like to just kind of share a little bit from this meditation, actually, the guidance that you've given, Aya. How beautiful it is actually to have the voice of another when we sit. It's a kind of surrendering and just opening to the guidance that comes and being willing to go with it, flow with it, expand into it. And I really noticed how these instructions today were just super helpful to feel the whole body breathing. For me, was very supportive because there's this kind of opening of the awareness. It feels almost like a blossoming where, you know, the attention can kind of expand and a sense of an adventure, a sense of let's see where it goes. Let's see what appears when I direct attention. The attention opens into body. And it's really very interesting to me that we can immediately feel so much. There's so much awareness here for us. I also very much appreciated the openness of the guidance, the sense of whatever the breath is for you. It's so interesting that we probably all have a slightly different understanding of anapanasati, of breath awareness, meditation. And we may focus in so many different ways on the breath. It can be the whole body breathing, or it can be a spot, you know, any part, anywhere really in the body, or even an energetic sense of movement. Quite remarkable. I was taught to practice really focusing on the breath in a very particular way by the Goenka method, which many of you will be familiar of. So to just come to one point and to give all the attention to that point. And that suited me very well for many years. And then I kind of at some point realized that it was time to open into something different and to allow the attention to broaden, to blossom, the whole body breathing. It's interesting that in the instructions in Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha, first of all, first steps of Anapanasati meditation to focus on the length of the breath. Is it long or is it short? A kind of focusing inward in on the detail of each breath. And we can really, you know, just do this probably the whole life, and that would be very beneficial indeed. But then the instruction goes on to, you know, to feel the whole body breathing. And as you brought in Aya Sobana, can we do this? And there is for me a shift. There's a change, and I'm interested to hear from others about this aspect of, you could say, samatha, samadhi practice. To can we have a focus that's very narrow, Can we have a focus that's very broad and all-encompassing? Is this also samadhi practice? And for me, there was a very natural development from the small to the kind of almost immeasurable, perhaps immeasurable quality of awareness that one can have. And we're still developing samadhi. We're developing this focus, this kind of unobstructed awareness where the hindrances don't get to impinge. They don't get a look in, because there is this quality of samadhi, of concentration, of focus, of one-pointedness. So for me, it's a bit of a paradox, because one-pointedness was literally one-pointed when I started practicing for many, many years. And then sort of quite almost naturally and quite spontaneously, it became the paradox. One-pointed, all-encompassing, broad, vast, and yet within the framework of this body. So there's an expansiveness, isn't there? The more we look, the more we see. The Buddha said, didn't he, the whole universe is to be found within the framework of this mind and body. And so it's quite remarkable to me that the temple, we go in and somehow the view has to be, it's necessarily focused and small, and I just sit down here. And I remember, like, the first time I met His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I couldn't even bring myself to look at him. He was too bright, you know, it felt disrespectful. I could just about look at his feet, and that was fabulous. And then slowly, you know, you start to gain a little bit of courage, and you sort of look a little bit higher and a little bit broader, and breathe deep, and, you know, relax a little bit more, and then open the view a little bit further. And I feel this is the way that our samadhi practice can develop, so that the temple becomes not just this one little spot in the room. The body's not a small thing. The breath is not a small thing. It expands and expands and expands. The temple grows. And of course, in the end, the temple is the entire world that we inhabit. It's not just me and my you know, perspective. Perspectives can broaden and open. Perspectives can shift. Perspectives can encompass the other again and again and again, so that in the end there's really no fixed view. There's no sure perspective. There's no sure anything. There's just the practice. So I wish you all well in your practice, and may the temple always be the place that we inhabit. Thank you.
If there are any questions or comments, if you put your hand up, I'll be the tech for the meeting and call on you, so that one of us can, well, we can all listen to what people have to share, and maybe give some answers. Okay, Patipada.
Good morning, Aya. I just wanted to say thank you to you and Aya Dhammadharini for your teachings this morning. With the Vipassana practice, what I've come to learn is that when we're doing sensations all over the body, we start recognizing that the skin is such a unique object, that the air in contact with the skin breathes. The moisture in contact with the skin drinks. And it is just such a fabulous outer covering for the being. that the skin is just, it protects us from everything. And it has taught me that practitioners who sit in caves, they can feed themselves out of the nothingness. Everything comes from the nothingness. And they can eat and drink for days off of that nothingness and not put anything in the body through the mouth. It's just an amazing, amazing design of the form. So just wanted to say thank you both for that. And I know you were both with me with my practice always, and I thank you both for that as well. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I do actually have a reflection from Patipada's lovely observation about the skin. That is that one of the ways of watching the in and the out breaths is, instead of like a unit, like the in unit at the pause and then the out is, and the pause as separation, but as a continuousness of the in and out breath. And in looking at, because Patipada mentioned vipassana, and looking at impermanence, the arising, the existence, and the stopping, those can be, in a way, observed in a way that's a bit like chopped up, or else it can be observed as a cycle that keeps rolling around with a kind of continuity. So there's just what comes to my mind in listening to that metaphor or that observation.
Thank you, Aya.
Do you have something to add, Aya?
Only, yeah, I just so share your sense of the value of paying attention, bringing the attention to the skin, like the whole shell of the body. It's such an extraordinary place to observe the feelings. It's so alive, it's so vibrant. Actually, when we're feeling sleepy or dull, this is a great invitation to pay attention to the external part of the body that's always in touch with the air, with the clothes, with the temperature. It's very enlivening to pay attention here. And I just love all the things she said there, Patipada. And you too, Aya Sedna.
I'll call on Maitri.
Thank you, Aya Subhana. Thank you, Aya Brahmavara. I had a quick question, maybe. I think in the Anapanasati Sutta, the experiencing the whole body, the term, I think it's something, it goes something like Sabbakaya Patisangvedi. And I've seen it interpreted in different ways, experiencing the whole body breathing as well as experiencing the whole whole body of breath. And so in my kind of rather maybe primitive and kind of developing, I try both aspects sometimes, and I feel there could be usefulness in both. For me, can feel whether the breath is short or long, for in just only paying attention to it during each breath, but for a short period, like just knowing that versus keeping my attention throughout during the entire breath. It's more challenging. then again, looking at the breath within the whole body is also challenging. And I just would like to see what thoughts you might have on that, on those two aspects. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that you brought that in. Thank you, Maitri, because it's true. You know, there are these two interpretations. And what I love about when there's some debate about the meaning is that we can usually take all the different possibilities and just use them all, you know. So it's like that's two very valuable instructions there, whichever is meant, never mind, but both are very valuable. So yeah, I can only really share that from my own experience to really observe the whole body of the breath is something a bit different. It has a slightly different flavor or effect from observing the whole body breathing. And I noticed that when the attention is on the breath and really noticing every nuance of the rhythm of the breath, you know, following the out breath right to the very end, and then that pause, you know, that suspended period that can just go on and on if the attention is very clear and bright. And then the in-breath, you know, starting the middle, the end. It's hugely helpful for us to really hone our ability to focus. So it has that quality of bringing the attention inward for me, more one-pointedly. And whereas the other way of interpreting the instructions much more broad, and as I was saying, it sort of it just expands and expands. And so, you know, we can choose really how we practice depending, I would say, on our state of mind. And it's super helpful, isn't it? At the beginning of a meditation, we quite quickly, don't we, get a sense of how is the mind right now? Is it actually quite peaceful and focused, or is it in fact racing with thoughts? Am I obsessed? Is there an obsession with some situation, or is there just a very restless, agitated mind? And as we know that, you know, the challenging thing is that the Buddha said the remedy for restlessness, mental agitation, is actually to focus. So for myself, I would say, and perhaps for many of us, if we have a very restless mind, it's maybe more useful to interpret this teaching, this instruction, as to bring all the attention to bear on the breath itself. As Ayya Sobhana said, you know, whatever way you experience that, and to hone in on that, just keep coming back to that. And noticing when we're off and come back patiently and kindly, just keep bringing the attention back. On the other hand, if the mind is actually quite peaceful and focused and we can stay with the breath without too much difficulty, then I think that's the time to consider expanding the attention, perhaps to the whole body breathing. So these are just some thoughts. And I think, Maitri, it's hard work either way. Either way, we can be disappointed with our progress and our, you know, ability to stay on track, or we can be super grateful that we're actually meditating. We've made the effort, we've made the determination, we're practicing the teachings of the Buddha, we're doing it. And even if it feels like no progress, little progress, doesn't actually matter at all. It's the fact that we've come into this place of practice. We've come into the temple. And even if we're running around the temple, making lots of noise, never mind, we're here. We're here. And to keep determining to come back and to give it our best effort. And every effort we make, whether we're successful or not, in the terms that we're judging ourselves, whatever that may be, whether we're successful or not, the effort is developing, growing, and our ability to experience some degree of peace and well-being will follow quite naturally.
I'd like to call on Brianna, if you still have a question.
Thank you, Ayaz. It's wonderful to be here. That was actually similar guidance that I was looking for, so I appreciate the last answer for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I'll call on John. John, you might be still muted.
Can you hear me?
There, yes.
Oh, I apologize. I've been having some technical issues today. I apologize. I was expressing my thanks to Aya Sobana for the meditation and to Aya Brahmavara for the reflection that she offered. Yes, and thanks to the community for the opportunity to practice. I don't really like meditation, to be completely honest. I mean no offense, but it's basically that it's hard for me. I came into Buddhism through learning the teachings in the Anguttara Nikaya when I was a struggling person earlier in my life. So I really view it more as a system of education. That's how I got started. But of course, I have to understand my own mind, which I'm basically afraid of, which is kind of a strange thing because the mind's always there. So if I'm afraid of something that's always there, it's a little bit of a problem, right? So, so I have to work on that. But thank you for this opportunity to be here and to work on something that I find a little difficult. I just wanted to briefly ask Aya a follow-up question. You were talking about one-pointedness versus comprehensiveness or totality. I don't remember the exact word you used, but that's basically the gist of it. And I was just wondering how you view the idea in the tradition that concentration is ekaggata, but there are also other factors involved. I wonder how you might, sort of building on the point you raised, I wonder how you might address that. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. I'd like to first of all say, in relation to what you said about the mind being frightening, being scary, totally. You're a wise person if you feel scared by the mind. The mind is scary. I mean, it's the potential of this mind that is quite awesome, quite extraordinary. And isn't it when we even try to begin meditating, we can quite quickly realize that the mind is pretty crazy. It's wild. It jumps around, the wild monkey simile, from branch to branch, agitated, confused, and it is frightening in the sense that we don't have mastery over this mind to any degree at all until we start to develop mindfulness. But the great thing is that, we can develop mindfulness. And meditation, actually, my sense is it's the hardest thing. There's nothing really harder than to meditate. There's nothing more difficult. The Buddha said it's like you can go out and fight armies, out in the world. Great courage, great fortitude, great heroism required, yes. But it's way harder to tame this mind. So I think to have a sense of awe, kind of hair-raising goosebump, awe in relation to the mind or even fear is quite a wise thing. And then we can work with that. We can question that, investigate that, and come to a point of wanting to actually understand, which is where we're at, of course, because we're here. We want to understand these minds. We want to be able to choose what to think and when to think, and not to be bombarded by the wild mind. So I wanted to say, to kind of empathize with that sense of fear, and also the difficulty of meditation, and to say, to recognize we're all in the same boat. And I think we'd all probably agree with your sentiment when you express a little bit of fear and maybe dismay around this mind. I certainly share that. And it's a real how to say, encouragement to practice, for sure, so that we pursue the good way and we follow into good destinations and avoid harm and avoid suffering. So concentration. Then you asked about the what other aspects are there to samadhi, to one-pointedness? Is Samadhi an encouragement to one-pointedness? I think it is, but I think as with every path factor, what comes to my mind in response to your question is that, you know, there are eightfold path, there are 8 path factors, and each of them influence and support and encourage each of the others. So it's a bit like dependent origination. It's like there's a whole network of qualities and practices in the Eightfold Path that sort of nourish and support each other. And so within Samma Samadhi are all the other path factors, each and every one of them. So we have to have right view, we need to have the right intention, we need to have a sense of well-being that comes from right speech, right action, and right livelihood. So we, you know, without a virtuous life as our foundation, we can't really experience any degree of samadhi whatsoever, because there needs to be a degree of peacefulness to start with, a lack of remorse or regret. Or and when I say that, you might think, oh, well, that's not me. You know, I don't have that kind of a mind. But actually, when we are willing to develop samadhi, develop mindfulness, which is another factor that's so intertwined with samma samadhi, right concentration and right mindfulness working together, also with right effort, when we may feel, you know, I don't have all these path factors developed enough. Well, never mind, because when we start to develop right mindfulness, right concentration, of course, that will aid and abet and nourish all the other path factors. So we're going to incline more to virtue, because we'll feel the pain of harm. Any kind of harm that's been done will come into the mind, and we can acknowledge that, move forward, and all the path factors will be developing through our practice of right concentration, samma samadhi, right mindfulness. So, and then when we're not sitting on the mat and trying to develop one-pointedness, we can be developing the other path factors, which will enable us to improve on and further our one-pointedness, and so on. So I hope that makes sense.
Thank you very much, Ayek. This hour has gone by all too quickly. Now it's time for us to express our respect for the Triple Gem. The Lord, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one, I render homage to the Buddha, the blessed one. The teachings so completely explained by him, I bow to the Dhamma. The Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, I bow to the Sangha. Thank you, everybody, for your practice and for your patient listening today.
Thank you to both ayahs.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aya. Thank you, Aya.
Thank you.